the grandson of right thought, and welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, little flock. As I often say, there are two worlds at work, and Abba said you must choose which one you are a part of. These two worlds are two minds. These two minds are at war with each other. Though there are two, it doesn't mean they're friendly. It doesn't mean they're in cahoots with each other. You see that? It doesn't mean that they're allies. They're actually at war, one with another. These two worlds that you have to decide what side you're on. Because as I said, it's war. You can't be neutral. You got to decide. Neutral means lukewarm. What happens if you are lukewarm, Abba said? You have to be hot or cold. So do you understand what the grandson's saying here? You have to decide what mind you are of, which then in turn tells you what world you are of. You hear me today? That's what determines what world you're of, what mind you're of. So these two minds are at war. If you're spiritually minded, guess who you have war with? The carnal mind. You see how your warfare is not flesh and blood? You see it? It's a mind thing. So if you're carnally minded, who are you at war with? The spiritual mind. You see it today, little flock? So which world are you a part of? The spiritual mind or the carnal mind? Now, many people think they're spiritually minded until they find out that they're not actually existing in a state of life and peace. They're not peaceful people. If you're not peaceful, then you're not spiritual. Because blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of I am. You see it there? When you're peaceful, you seek to bring peace to the circumstances like Yahusha taught you. He's the one taught you how to be peaceful. He's the one that said, peace be still. He's the one that came in riding on a donkey into the city of peace. On an animal, the reason why I brought that up is because this is an animal that's not supposed to be peaceful. You've ever tried to tame a wild ass that's never been ridden on? No, probably not. Well, why don't you look it up and research it and see? And when you see what you got to go through to be able to even sit on the back of this donkey, then you're going to understand how the King of Peace was able to come in on a colt of an ass that had never even been sat upon. That in itself proved the dominion. You see what I'm trying to say to you? That donkey representing your internal state. Rebellious, hard-headed, wants to do what it wants to do, doesn't want to listen. Do you see the jackass there? See it there? So when you realize that, wait a second here, I'm deciding what world I'm of, because I was taught John 3:16, for God so loved the whole wide world. Men stand there and they're like, the world, that means the entire world. Guys, yeah, the entire world of Esau. I don't care how much big you try to make it, how all-encompassing you try to make it. It's Esau's world, what you talking about. And Abba don't love that world. That's why he said, come out of her, that you be not partaker. Come out of who? The carnal mind. That you be not partaker of what the fruits will be of it. Do y'all understand what I mean by saying that? The fruit of the spiritual mind is death. So then don't you need to come out of it before it starts to bear its fruit and have its offspring? Don't you need to jump up out of there? I would say so. If death was going to have some offspring, what could we use to describe what those offspring would be like? maybe the living dead. Maybe some thriller shit. Maybe some thriller-like shit. That seems like what I would picture a child of death would look like. So then come up out of there before you get noisome sores and pestilences and diseases. And as he said, plagues. Y'all didn't read about Egypt? Come out of Egypt before the plagues hit Israelites. And the ones that didn't want to come out, they received of the plagues. But the ones who did come out, they didn't get no plagues. Now, what is Egypt? If we're talking about two minds and two worlds, look at that there, little flock. It represents the carnal mind. What were the Israelites doing in Egypt? They were in bondage. So that means you were in bondage to the carnal mind, Israelites, because you're spiritual people. If you're spiritual people at war with the carnal mind, if you've become a carnally minded person, then they've beat your ass, taken your uniform of your breastplate, your salvation helmet, your shield, your sword, your belt, your shoes. They've taken all of that off of you, and they've put on their garments upon your ass. The garments of iniquity, which are rags, filthy, dirty, stinking, greasy-ass rags. Ain't that what them zombies be wearing? Some stinking-ass, gruesome, noisome, pestilent, field-looking-ass eel niggas, right? What words do you use to describe the Walking Dead? Come on with some words that you say that they exhibit when you see them. Stinking and nasty and greasy ass looking clothes that they look like they got on, right? That's the clothes you got on when you in the carnal mind. How do I know that? Well, y'all must not have read about me. You must not read about me. So let me help you understand about me. I was a man that was living in iniquity once upon a time, and I was plucked out of that iniquity that I was in, and Abba lifted me up and washed me clean of my iniquities. So when I was washed clean of those iniquities, I looked down and realized I had new garments on. And so I said to myself, well, those garments must have represented my filthy iniquities that I was living in because of the carnal mind that I was in, which is what he plucked me up out of, washed me clean, and gave me a new garments of righteousness. See the breastplate I told you they snatched up off of you? He put them back on, because I read that story of the prodigal son, and I know how it goes. Were you ever prodigal in your life? Of course you were. Of course you were, little flock. But you were chosen out of the world. So you was out there partying and shit till you got broke, beat down, ashamed, and sad. And then you had to turn back and say, Abba, forgive me. Forgive me for squandering my whole life force energy out there on bullcrap. Things that were vain. Thank you for forgiving me for that. Bring me back home and wash me clean. And then he did. And he put what on your hand? A ring, it say. See, he's not putting on garments that are not royalty. You notice that? Put a ring on your hand, a robe upon you, and said, my son who was lost. See? So you was in the carnal mind, no doubt about it. But you're now found. And now you have returned to the spiritual mind. That's the fishing that Yahusha made you into. That's the kind of fisherman he made you into. A fisher of men. You're fishing them out of the water, bringing them into the air so that they can breathe. What does that mean, little flock? Y'all have been coming here long enough to understand it. And if you don't, I'll help you along. What it means is you see a brother drowning. There isn't any physical water that he's drowning in. He's drowning in debt. He's drowning in sadness. He's drowning in loss. He's drowning in despair. He's drowning in loneliness. And you fish him out of there. And you bring him into a place, in a state of being where he can breathe now. No longer in the fish's belly. You pluck him up out of there. And you raise him out of there. You see that there, little flockulators? And now you become living, breathing again. And you can be calm. You can breathe. You see? Because when any circumstance comes to your life, little flock, this is just a little tidbit of wisdom you might want to put in your breast pocket here. When you're going through life, things are going to happen that are going to make you feel adrenaline. Your heart's going to start beating. it's going to get hot and sweaty and shit. You're going to start breathing. That's like anger, wrath, fear. See, those negative emotions are always affiliated with that feeling. They're always associated with that feeling. Oh shit. And you get your heart rate up, your palms get sweaty and shit. You see? Nervousness, grief, sadness, anger, all that shit make you feel like that. Well, that's a storm. That's a storm of emotion, of waters. Now, see, when people think that, they may just think of a little stream flowing. No, guys. No. I know most people have never been on a ship at sea in the middle of the ocean and a big ass 100-foot wave is welling up in front of you. And it rises up so high you can't even see the top of it. And it's lifting your boat up and it's nothing you can do because you're at the whim of this big ass wave. The feeling that's going to make you feel is what I'm telling you. Helpless, hopeless. Panic is going to set in when you feel hopeless, dude. See what I'm saying? That's when you're actually supposed to become calm. How do we know? I told you guys this 1,000,001 times. Yahusha on that boat, he said, peace be still. But before he said that, he was asleep. Can you hear it today? He was asleep. So that means he was calm. That's how you feel when you're asleep. You're in a calm, peaceful state of being, restful. That's the state of being. But see, carnally minded people, when they hear me start teaching things like this, they only see a man asleep. They don't see a man who's awake, who's in the state of being asleep. That's the spiritual mind required to understand that. See, little flockulators? That takes two different minds to interpret it. Wait a minute. Yahusha said, that girl isn't dead, but she's asleep. When Stephen was stoned, it said they stoned him and he fell asleep. But they laughed at him and laughed him to scorn and said, you're crazy. The girl's clearly dead. See? You see it? Two different minds at work. Two different states of being at play. That's why those other guys were screaming and hollering because that big ass wave was up there. They said, oh shit, we're all gonna die. See? Did Yahusha say that? How come he didn't? Two different minds. How many were of that mind he was of? One. See? Because everybody else is going to respond to what they see. That's what I'm training the flockulators for. Because you're about to see a whole bunch of mad, crazy, out of ordinary, strange, crazy shit. It's the best way I can explain it to you. Y'all think y'all done seen some stuff. You ain't seen nothing yet. America shall indeed reap what it has sown. And sad to say, if you dwell in this place of America, then you're going to see some shit. The Vietnamese saw some shit when they were living out there on the rice paddies, never even seen a plane before, let alone a Huey helicopter with machine guns hanging off the side and rock music playing. And napalm being dropped out of an airplane, falling into the rainforest, burning everything in its path, as well as their children and little ones, till their skin come right off the bone. That's what they saw. And the list goes on and on and on. You guys don't want me to get to talking about what my people have seen in this land. Y'all ever heard of alligator bait? You guys think what happens out there is so cruel, Americans, but y'all forget the cruel shit that has happened right here on this soil you call home. Alligator bait. How in the hell are you so heartless and so cruel that you will take a person's child because you want to get the alligator so that you can make a wallet and belt and some shoes out of that nigga and make some money, but you need to catch him, so you need some bait. So instead of taking a little piglet or a little chicken or a little salmon or any damn thing, you take a people's child, wrap a rope around his body, little pickaninny nigger, throw a rope around him, throw him in the water, watch the alligator chomp on him, and then pull the rope while the alligator's twisting and turning with the baby in his mouth, trying to rip him into pieces so he can swallow. And he did a lot of times, just rip him in half, swallow his skull, crunch on that thing while the baby's screaming and everything. Oh, grandson, why are you bringing that up? I told you why. Because you need to know the payment of it so that you can be prepared for what you're about to see. Abba said if you dash people's babies against the stones, which happened to the Israelite children right here in this land, then your children, and he says when your children get dashed, happy is the man who's going to be doing it. I know that sounds harsh. I know it sounds cruel, but then why was it done? It's amazing how men will do some shit and then say, God's too good to do it. God's too good. He won't do that. But it's okay that we did it. It's not okay that you did it. That's why you're going to suffer it. That's why he said don't do it. While you're talking about my father, that's why he warned you all that you reap what you sow. So how stupid do so-called Christians that carry a Bible have to be that go across the land enslaving people, taking their babies, ripping them from the parents, selling them off into slavery, off in a whole nother damn state, never to be seen again. The mother falls on the ground screaming and crying in agony because her baby's just been taken out of her hands. You beat her down, force her to go back to work all damn day long and forget those children, which you can't. So then you shall reap it. I didn't sow that, but somebody did. So then since somebody did, I'm warning y'all that the reaping is coming. The reaper is here to reap what's been sown in this land, guys. And not just this land, but all over the lands, because everybody's lying about what the hell they're doing out there. This whole fiasco, we'll call it, over there overseas, with this people want to bomb and fight every damn body around them, it's to keep up a lie. That's what you have to do to keep up a lie. You got to tear shit up and act stupid and compound more lies and more lies. And when people don't believe your lies, you start killing them off. Anybody who knows the truth, you kill them so that you can purport this lie to the remaining dumb, stupid citizens willing to accept the lies that love lies. Yeah, that's right. You guys are doing the right thing. Killing up all those people, bombing people, blowing kids apart. Yeah, that's great to keep doing that because you guys are fighting a holy war, man. This is biblical, man. Stupid so-called evangelicals. I say so-called because you're not. So-called evangelicals running across this earth talking about, yeah, man, pray for them over there, man. Pray for them, man. Give them all your support, man. Send them all your money, man. Do you realize what you're talking about? You're actually saying support the synagogue of Satan. You know, if I was wondering, if I was just some innocent person and I was reading the Bible, and I read in there where it says, well, you shall be cursed if you don't keep these commands, and this shall be the curses. And I start reading that in Deuteronomy 28. And then I also see that he says, these things shall be a sign unto thee and unto your children forever. So let me get this right here. What you're saying, Abba, is this will be a signifying symptom or a signifying mark of who the Israelites are. So then let's say this signifying mark, let's say these were the Los Angeles Lakers. That means the signifying marks are what, little fly? That would be the purple and the gold colors and the jerseys, right? And the symbol and the words Lakers across. That would be the signifying mark. But most notably, it would be the colors, the gold and the purple, right? So then I said, well, that's the signifying mark that marks these Lakers. Well, when I watch the NBA, see, I've never seen the Lakers. When I watch the NBA, once I see this particular team that's called the Lakers and I see the purple and the gold, I'm going to automatically say what? That must be the Lakers out of all of those teams. They're not the Pistons, are they? Pistons wear blue, white, red, and blue. So the purple and the gold don't match the description. But let's say the Pistons took their jerseys off and put on some purple and gold jerseys. You see that there? Then they could deceive, right? Well, what has happened in the earth here, little flock, is that there's a sign in Deuteronomy 28 that follows a people, and they have purple and gold jerseys, in other words. Well, when you look at the earth, that happens to be the so-called Negroes. They're the ones that match the description. You see what I'm saying to you? But then there's a people saying that they're the people that don't actually have on purple and gold jerseys. They have on blue and white jerseys. You're like, guys, I thought the book said they had on purple and gold. It does say that. Well, then how come you don't have on purple and gold? You actually have on blue and white. Your pride deceived you. You were so prideful, you said, I can still wear my blue and white jersey. They're so destroyed, they won't even know. They won't even know. But Abba said, I see the blasphemy of them who call themselves Jews and are not, but be the synagogue of Satan. So you guys been acting like so-called Negroes here in America have been calling themselves Jews the past 400 years? No, they have not. They have been calling themselves what you people of the earth have told them to call themselves, haven't they? This is something nobody can deny. I rub my hands together with great duping delight for anybody who seeks to try to. It's so simple and easy to understand. Do Chinese people let you come over there and change their name and call them something else and change their language? Do they? No, they don't. So then what's the discrepancy with this particular people that lets you call them Negroes, blacks, and whatever other name you come out, colored, and every damn thing else? I think it's pretty obvious, right? Yeah, I'd say so. So now, the point is, these people have been in the carnal mind enslaved there so long that now they're coming out of the carnal mind. And I am announcing this. You see? This awakening of these people who have been dead in their sins. If you're dead in your sins, you're walking around, but you're walking around with a St. Patrick's Day hat on your head with green beer in a mug. See? You're one of those type of dead Negroes. Sleep, as Christ said. Yeah, you're alive walking around on the earth, but you got a Santa hat on your head with Christmas lights around your neck at the job at your cubicle. Merry Christmas, guys! Happy holidays! See? Coon. That's what we call that. A coon. This doesn't mean a sleep Negro. Doesn't know who he is. If he knew who he was, he'd act like what he is. But he's been duped into believing a lie. Now, see, the reason why I always say that, even though I know I'm not only talking to Negroes, the reason why I say that is because it must go to the Jew first and then to the Gentile. Y'all see how it actually is working that way, actually? They must know who they are. This is God's grace doing this and his mercy. They must hear the gospel. The Negro must hear the good news concerning his estate, that he is not a slave, that he is not black, that he has to hear the truth so he has a chance to repent, guys. Isn't this obvious? I know the world hates the Negro so much that he doesn't care to understand it. We don't care that you don't care. It's going to happen regardless. Abba is the Negro's helper. You people of the earth didn't do it. You had a lot of chances to do it. I have to tell the truth. You all had a lot of chances to correct the iniquity that was done to these people, to speak up about it, to do something about it. But you all sat by and let it happen. And God said it in his word that you all just let it occur. You all were in cahoots and confederate to make sure that it stayed in this way. You all helped it continue on. So since none of you will ever do what I'm doing, will ever love my people the way I do, see it? It's just the way that it is. It's just the truth. And therefore, you will never love my people the way that my people is capable of loving you. And that's why God chose my people. Because despite all the hate, all of the ridicule, all of the whatever it is that you might feel for me and my people, what do I give you in return? The beauty that God has given to my people, which is to be the oracle of God. See? So when you know that, you become that and you do that because it's all about being, becoming. Khaya. It's all about that. That's what Abba is. You see it? So now, let's get some wisdom concerning these two minds and how they judge, because the spirit of truth must reprove the world of its judgment. The world is judged wrong because it's been in the carnal mind. So now you respond to people's judgment wrongfully. because you believe wrong judgment about you, what you are and who you are. Everything from the top to the bottom has been a lie concerning what they've told you are. You see what I mean? Now, because this has happened to the so-called Negro, the same tactic has been used on everybody. And that's why this is beneficial to any man who listens to this. You see? Because there is a mixed multitude that's going to come out of the carnal mind, that's coming out of through this exodus that we're doing. Every exodus needs a shepherd. Moses was the shepherd of the first exodus. You see it? Abba's going to do it a second time. So then he's going to send you a shepherd to lead you in the exodus. He always does. He doesn't change. You see it? I'm that guy. You see it? To lead you in the correct exodus. Because it doesn't matter where we physically go as a people if we don't spiritually go first. I hope you guys hear what the grandson is telling you, this wisdom. You are being prepared for a land. You are not going to go into the land and then be prepared to inhabit it, guys. You understand what I'm telling you? In other words, Abba would not whisk you away into a land if you weren't prepared to inhabit it. The preparation must occur first internally. And when you're there eternally and ready for it eternally, then you will inhabit it physically. So I'm here to prepare you spiritually for the Exodus and the things you will see, because men's hearts shall fail them for what they shall see. I hope you can hear that. So then your heart is internal. So then what's going to keep your heart when you see these things? The words the grandson tells you. Peace be still. I am calm. I told you the feeling's going to happen. Panic. What's going to stop that? The breath. The breath shall. Now, it just happens to be the grandson of right thought telling you this. What's the grandson of God's name from the beginning? Hebel. What does Hebel means? Breath. It means vapor. It means vanity. It means pointless and useless and idle. So what does all of that mean? Breath, pointless, useless, vapor, idle. Idol, like IDOL, idol worship. Why does his name mean that, the grandson? Because that's what he is. That's what he is going to say out of his mouth. See, the word is the spirit. It's the word. So this physical being here is here so that it's designed to deliver a word out of the mouth of it. But it needs the entire body so that it can push forth what's inside of it, what's inside of the heart. Your whole body shall be full of light. See it? And then the light will come out when you open your mouth. The truth shall shine forth. You see it? So now, when you're in the carnal mind, when your heart is filled with what? Because out of the treasure of your heart, the abundance of your heart, the mouth speaks. So when you're in the carnal mind, you're minding carnal things. So then you will only speak about that. How to get some money, how to be with women, how to get a better body, how to have your finances in order, how to travel the world, how to be a passport bro, how to get guns and be registered to do this and registered to do that. And you guys understand what I'm saying here? That's carnal things. Now, it has an outward show of righteousness. In other words, if a man does all those things I just described, gets his body together, working out and shit, healthy, eats good diet, works out, has good friends, socially in order with all the people around him, and all the outward shit is in order. Got his finances in order. He's on reaching 1,000 days and all this shit. Then it outwardly indeed appears righteous unto men. The Bible warns you against that. That's what I'm doing. I've been there and done that. I've been through that class already of eating perfect, working out every day, semen retention, being the epitome of a fucking man. I'm locked in. Can't nothing stop me. That was me. Locked in. Couldn't nothing stop me. I had a goal and I was going to reach that goal. I want to be the perfection of physical of what I could be. And I did it. And when I did it, it was vain. I said, wait a second, I'm here now. Now I got to keep on doing all this work to maintain this shit. That's all I'm doing. I'm just going to maintain. And what do you think happened to me? Many people came to me. How often do you work out? Teach me. Train with me. Show me how to get a body like that. What do you eat? Show me your notebook with all your notes in it. Teach me. Show me. Why were all these people coming to me talking about teach me, show me, teach me, show me? Because it had an outward show of righteousness. It had an outward show, but my heart was still filthy at that time. I wanted all those things so that I could appear righteous to men and people would desire to be like me and to want me. That's what all men think about. That's what the carnal mind, the epitome of it is. What did Satan entice Yahushua with in the 40? What did he entice him with? The kingdoms of the world, status, the same shit the carnal mind want, vainglory. That's what he enticed Yahushua with. And Yahushua said, no, I'm not going to fall down and worship the carnal mind by chasing these things. You see? Now, in the last video I posted, guys, I was talking about this man who was trying to give me all this advice and everything, right? And then a brother P, he responded in the comments and was talking about this man, talking about himself and thinking about his past and what he missed out on and what he would do if he were me and how he was jealous because I didn't serve his God with my skills and my looks and whatnot. And he's right. Because one day, little flock, I'm walking down the street in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. And I don't know anybody in this city. I just got there. I literally don't know anybody. For some strange reason, Abba had put me there. So I'm walking down the street one day, minding my own business, and a truck pulls up next to me on the street. So the guy's in there, and not elder, but a middle-aged man, probably about 50-something years old. Older Hebrew man, so-called Negro. He pulls over and he's like, hey, young man, what you doing out here? I said, oh, nothing. I'm just, bored, walking around, looking. I'm new to the city, He like, shit, you hungry or thirsty or anything? And it just so happened I didn't have any money or anything. And it was hot as hell that day. So I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, well, hop on in, man. I'm like, all right, cool. Hopped in this truck. He drives to the McDonald's and he's talking to me on the way. He's like, so you do anything here, make some money? I'm like, no, I just really got here. He was like, well, I do some lawn service work, which I'm going to go do today. You want to do something with me? And, I cut the pay in half and give you half of it. So I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't, came up on a couple of bucks here. Cool. This is pretty cool. Met an elder gentleman. He could teach me some wisdom and knowledge, So we go and get to McDonald's. He gives me some tea, iced tea from McDonald's. He gives me that to drink and everything. And he's like, well, I got to step at my house and get my lawnmower and stuff, put it on my truck. I'm like, all right. So we pull up to his house and we go in his living room and he turns the air conditioner on and gets some air. We're sitting there because, like I said, it's very hot. So we're sitting there cooling off and drinking the tea and everything. And he's like, you said you don't do anything to make any money? And I'm like, no, I just got to this city, man. And he says to me, watch. And think about what the brother P has said on the comments. This guy says, well, if I looked like you, man, I'd be laying up in a Ritz-Carlton in Atlanta right now. That's what he said. If I looked like you, I'd be laid up in the Ritz-Carlton in Atlanta right now. I have the world at my fingertips, man. If I look like you, man, hey, what you got, brother? Man, I'd take the world by storm. What he was saying to me. Now, did you remember what Brother P said? He said, he's just angry you're not using your handsomeness and skills and whatnot to serve his God. Did you hear what this other older gentleman said? In Tennessee? If I had that, I'd be laid up in the Ritz-Carlton. What kind of stuff does Satan offer you? To lay up in the highest places, to be the king of the world if you just fall down and worship me. See, I don't use my attractive, handsome looks to serve man. I used to, because it's all you know how to do when you're lost. But when you've been brought out of that iniquity and false bullcrap, fake-ass living, then you realize, why, if I'm the spirit inhabiting this body, why am I focusing so much attention on this car? In other words, this vehicle, this Merkaba I'm riding in. Why am I focusing so much attention on that if that ain't even me? Do y'all hear what the grandson's saying to you today? You see it? Because you lost in darkness. That's why you waste labor on the outward appearance. Vain labor, the Bible calls it. And you try to worship God with that, with what I eat and how often I work out and how I present and how healthy I look and how handsome I am and how clear my hairline is and how white my eyes are, how straight and white my teeth are. I'm worshiping God by looking and so perfect, aren't I? No, you're actually worshiping the one who judges outward appearance. God doesn't. So if God doesn't judge your outward appearance, why do you waste so much money and time on how you look and on your appearance? Because you worship that other God. See how I'm just straight telling you the truth? I don't care how this makes people feel. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to let you watch my video and slide by without knowing this shit. It's that simple. If I do, that means I don't love you. I'm not properly warning you if what I'm saying is not jarring you out of the bullshit you've been in. It must jar you. And that jar is going to actually make you offended at first, because the jarring is the staff that I'm popping you with. That's the way it feels, because that's actually what a shepherd is doing. So when you feel the pop, you respond the same way a person would who got popped in the head with a stick. Indignation, anger at the one who popped you. That's the wrong feeling, sheep. Be humble and realize who you are and what's happening. You're being knocked back onto the straight and narrow path because you're about to go astray into some carnality that shall not benefit you. Azazel, a demon, a messenger of lawlessness and trickery and deceit, taught how to put makeup on. This is a demonic message. So what does that mean, little flock? Not some demon walking around doing this. It's a demonic message, which means it's an unclean message that a mind receives when it looks in the mirror and says, I need to put this makeup to be pretty. That's an unclean message to the God who you still don't know his name. If you think that you don't know his name as I am, who are you talking about that needs the makeup on? See, you're telling God he needs to put makeup on. And then you say, well, I'm not talking about God. If you're talking about what God made, then you're talking about God, aren't you? If you're not, then how come you get offended if you make a pancake and the person who eats it says it's gross? How come you get offended? They're just talking about the fucking pancake, not you, right? Oh! Slice their ass, grandson. Oh! Dice their ass, grandson. Oh! Stack their ass up nice, grandson. You get offended when people talk about your work. So then you don't think Abba will be offended when you talk about his? Look how that foot sweeps everybody's bullshit. See, this is the type of message the preacher at church should have been preaching to you. This message, true judgment. But what did Yahusha say? They have omitted the weightier matters. Judgment, mercy, faith. I'm proving to you that those are the things that are omitted that you have not heard, because those are the things that will deliver you. That's what would deliver you. There's a Ark of the Covenant, and there are two angels with their wings touching. Do you know who those two angels are? That would be grace and mercy. And in between is called the mercy seat. Those two angels are grace and mercy. You see? The messages you want to receive when you're at the throne of grace, falling at the mercy seat. See how they come together? The throne of grace at the mercy seat. Grace and mercy are the messages you want to hear. You don't want to hear judgment. You don't want to hear condemnation. You want to hear grace and mercy. You hear that there, little flock? That's the two angels on the Ark of the Covenant. The two messengers. The two messages that bring you into harmony with the Father. See, comfort comes from repentance. That's why the word means the same thing. Noah came to teach the people comfort, which was how to repent. In other words, how to return to the bosom of their Father. That's what Noah came to teach, and the people were too busy doing carnal-minded things to listen. So it is now today. I'm teaching you how to return to the bosom of the Father. That's what beloved means. Who else can teach you how to be beloved other than the beloved? Doesn't it match what I've always told you guys about exactly who I am? Doesn't it? And that the Bible actually has a prophecy in the New Testament concerning this thing? About how Yahusha would send his beloved one back to prophesy and teach the people again the perfect teaching? Because it's been lacking. Judgment has been so wrong that people are not able to hear the truth because it's been so tainted with lies and deceptions concerning what judgment is. In other words, what is good is called evil. What is evil is called good. So if what is evil is called good, then you're going to be doing things you think are good or evil. And I just told you and described many things: what you eat, how you dress, what you work, how often you work out, all things to make you outwardly do something. The Bible says physical exercise, it profiteth little, but the spirit profiteth with all. So then you want something that's going to profit you a little bit, or you want something that's going to profit you all? Two worlds offered to you. Profit you a little bit means it's going to be sweet in your mouth, but it's going to be bitter in your belly. Do y'all understand that? Didn't y'all hear about John? The one that got to prophesy again? Sweet in your mouth, bitter in your belly. Do you hear it? Same thing that the people have been eating when they go out into the world thinking this is good for me. Ooh, it's so good. I know that adultery you're having feels so good. I know it. But watch when it gets in your belly. In other words, watch when you start to digest it and you start to see what you actually ate. It's called vanity. So then when you get this, watch what I'm about to reveal to the little flock here. See how we get the secrets? When you eat the roll that's sweet in your mouth and bitter to your belly, what message are you then going to preach? All is vanity and vexation of spirit. You become the preacher with a capital P when you get the roll put in your mouth. And it's always going to be sweet in your mouth and bitter in your belly. Look in the Old Testament and look at the scroll that was eaten. Then look at John in the New Testament in Revelation and look at the scroll he ate. So the one who prophesies at the end is going to bring you that same message. It's the grandson's message. Capital P, preacher, you find that in the book of Ecclesiastes. Why? Who wrote Ecclesiastes? Is it the grandson of Jesse that wrote that? Kapow! It's always going to be the grandson because it's him. It belonged to him. Shiloh. It belongs to him. He whose it belongs. The scepter. See? The righteous place to speak righteousness. It belonged to somebody. It belonged to the grandson. No one knew it. I'm the one to tell it to you because obviously it belongs to me to tell it to you. Otherwise, you would have heard it already. But you haven't, have you? You didn't know anything about the branch. You guys can't fool me. Y'all didn't know anything about the branch. And then the people who said they did know about the branch thought the branch was Jesus Christ. And it's not. I say it so boldly and clearly that it has to make you stop and say, wait a minute. Jesus Christ isn't the branch? No, he's the true vine. And he said, you all are the branches. Now, among those branches, I have proven it over and over again that he has one that is in his bosom. So then, if he has branches, what would be the name of the one in his bosom? Watch how easy it's going to click like a Lego. You're going to say, the branch. So then, that's the branch. The one in whom Yahusha loved. It says that in your Bible, doesn't it? Now, do you find it strange when it says the disciple in whom Yahusha loved? Do you find it strange that it says that? Or do you just wash that right over like it doesn't say it at all? Now, we were talking about grace and mercy, right? The one whom is in Yahusha's bosom, what does his name mean? Yachanan. It means grace. It means I am gracious. What did he tell me in the 40, guys? I give you my grace. So I inherited it. You guys don't know that? Okay, well, Noah, just as in the days of Noah, let's see. Noah became heir, that is, of the righteousness, which is by faith. So faith is an omitted matter. It is not spoken about by the leaders of the church, the shepherd. They do not speak about faith. They don't teach it. Yahusha said they don't. So then if you inherit righteousness by faith, then what would you preach? The same thing Noah did, righteousness. He was a preacher of righteousness. See? So then the Son of Man of the last days is going to fulfill that, isn't he? Can anybody say otherwise? You can't. You can't. And it is being fulfilled. You see it? To he who it belongeth. Y'all see that there, little flockulators? So wisdom is justified of her own, even though the world will condemn you. They will try to, I should say, because they can't condemn you. They will only try to. They tried to condemn Yahushua of what he did. You just got to be prepared for it. You see that, little flock? So before we end this message, we're going to read a couple scriptures because we've just been talking for the time being. We're going to read some scriptures, though. Hold on one second, y'all. Proverbs 15. Now, before we start reading this, little flock, go to Proverbs 15. We're going to start at verse 1. Remember, there are two worlds, as I've described to you. There are two minds at war over what's true. Pharisees, we could say, are an example of the carnal mind. Yahusha is the example of the spiritual mind. Do you see how they would clash and have enmity and beef? You see, and one was misunderstanding the other, and he was saying, how come you guys can't understand my speech? Is it not because you're not of mine? I'm from above, you're from beneath. See, two different worlds. You see it? You are of your father, I am of my father. You are a liar, I am of the truth. But if I speak like you, then I would be a liar like you, which I am not. I know my father. You don't know him. You see this distinction? You see? So their judgment is different than if they have two minds. You guys can't deny this. Now, this is going to help you all understand what mind you are of when we read this verse here, these verses here. Watch. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So when somebody comes at you and they're angry directly at you and they're coming at you hot, how should you respond to them? See, this is going to tell you what mind you're of. The carnal mind would tell you to do what? To use grievous words back. Somebody says, fuck you. What do you say back? Nigga, fuck you, hoe ass bitch. That's grievous words that stir up anger, right? So he says, a soft answer turneth away wrath. So if somebody's coming at you directly, wrathfully, what should you do? Well, I'll give you an example of what I mean. I have done this before. I told you guys I had a boxing fracture in my hand and I had a cast on my right hand, and I'm right-handed, see? So I was at a disadvantage for any fighting that was going on at that time because I had this boxing fracture. Well, this guy, I guess, was going to take advantage of this injury I had, and he thought this was a good chance to jump on the guy. He had something off with me, and so he took that opportunity to bring it up. And so he's standing over me with his fist balled up, and he's like, I'm about ready to, he's flinching at me and everything. And everything about what he's doing is saying he wants to do some harm to me. So what did I say to him, little flock, when he came at me with all this wrath? I said, well, brother, go ahead and do what you're going to do, but I'm not going to fight you. I can't. Can't you see? I can't fight you right now. So, and anyway, I consider you to be my brother, my friend. And so I don't want to fight you. I love you, bro. And I'm going to love you after this. Do y'all hear that? Now, this doesn't matter what I say if it didn't turn away his wrath. But did it? I am a witness, and my testimony is these words are true. It turned away his wrath, and he turned away and walked away from me and left out of the house. And about an hour later, he came to me and said, hey, bro, can we just go to the bar and have some drinks, man? And just sit down and talk about it, bro? So when he was standing over me like, you bitch ass nigga, that's what he was saying. What should I have said to him? You hoe ass nigga, get the fuck up out my face before I beat your ass, hoe ass bitch. It would have stirred up some more anger and we would have got to fighting. You see what I'm saying there, little flock? But no fight had to happen because I chose to believe what Abba said was true, and it was. So then what advice would I give you? A soft answer will turn away the wrath. Don't give a damn about what people will think. If you do, that means you're offended at Christ. You don't keep the word of his patience because you're offended at his ways. And what shows you're offended is when you lash out. Fuck you, hoe ass bitch. I'll fuck you up. Talking to me like that. You're offended at Christ, who told you soft answer turns away that wrath. See? That's simple. I tried his way and it was effective and it worked. So I used wisdom so that my disadvantage did not hinder me from getting the result I needed. I was still able to conquer this man. Even though I couldn't physically in that moment, I could mentally, because I chose Abba's way, which is a higher way, which is the successful way. Even though to the eye, it make you look weak and it make you look like a coward. That makes you feel offended. I hope you guys hear me good. This is why a lot of people will not enter in, especially a lot of Hebrew men. They won't enter into this truth because they're offended at that thing I'm describing right there. But then that proves what mind you of. That means you carnally minded then, don't it? Well, if I get all up in arms and get to jumping up and down like Donkey Kong, then yeah, I guess I am stirring up strife because I'm being grievous. Well then, what's going to happen? A bunch of fighting and probably somebody's going to get killed. You think that's what God wants? Well, no. So why don't you choose the higher road? Because I'm going to look like a bitch, man. Okay, you think you look tough when you look like Donkey Kong. I'm going to tell you right now, every time you end up looking like Donkey Kong, you end up looking stupid just like that nigga look. That nigga looks stupid. Whatever the hell that sound is he be making, that nigga looks stupid. He look dumb. Why you want to look like him? Because he look big and strong and nobody will mess with him when he go, Do you not know that's the caveman way? I told you. A caveman don't have no other defense than to make a bunch of noise, jump up and down, and swing some sticks in his hand. He gets a club in his hand, swings up and down and goes, and he tries to scare off the mountain lion or the bobcat or whatever the hell's coming lurking. He tries to scare it off by going, That's the only defense. And when the thing starts to still come toward him, all he can do is run. His tactic didn't work. Did you hear me, little flock? All right then. Carnally mind, spiritually mind. The tongue of the wise uses knowledge or right. So he can take the things that he understands and deliver them the right way. See? That take wisdom to do that. The eyes of I am are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. See that? I'll see everything, so ain't no need in putting on no front. See it? A wholesome tongue is a tree of life. Now see, here comes the two minds. Like I always say, wholesome tongue, grandson. See, when you're using all those harsh, nasty, dirty words, you're not speaking with a wholesome tongue. According to what mind? Uh-oh, you didn't know I was going to put you in the double dutch with the two ropes doing like this. Are you able to double dutch? Let's see if you can, because I can. I can hop right in there. Can you? What do you mean, grandson? That's not wholesome to talk like that. I have my own ideas of what wholesome speech is and what not wholesome speech is. And what you're saying ain't got nothing to do with what I got over here on my list, because we gonna got the same mind. This is what's hard for people to get, see? They have to hear this teaching in order to have this war with it in their mind, and the right mind will conquer it. It will say, he's right. You think some is not wholesome. By what mind? If you're carnally minded, then you will say this. Watch how I can just do it so easily. You will say, not wholesome speech is cuss words, abrasive, harsh language, and vulgar language, and street rat language, and street slang, and see, words like that. That's not wholesome. Okay, this is my idea of not wholesome. I am sick. I am dumb. I am afraid. Those are filthy ass words that disgust me way more than the things you say are disgusting. See how it's weightier and weightier matter on my side? And you have a gnat on your side? See how it's one waging war against the other? Now, which one is the one that's not wholesome? Because it can't be both. We have two different minds. See how I'm going to keep foot sweeping you with these double dutch ropes? But yeah, he's right. Shit. If I say it's cussing and everything, then when I get to the spiritual mind, then I can't say it's cussing and stuff anymore because I have a new mind. Fuck, I've been renewed by the renewing. So if it's been renewed, then it can't be the same thoughts I had when I was carnal. It can't match. They're two worlds. They're at war. So how, if he's at war with him, can they agree concerning what's not wholesome? They can't. One calls evil good and good evil. Fuck. That's the carnal mind. See? It's the one calling some evil shit good and good evil. Oh, yeah, it's evil to talk like that. That ain't wholesome. You see what I mean, little flock? Now watch. Watch. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life. Now, what does the grandson say a wholesome tongue is? Because you say a wholesome tongue is not using abrasive language and not cussing, making it clean to the ear and to your feelings. You see? You see that? Easily to be received word. Smooth speech, the Bible calls it, which is wicked. But I guess you guys can't hear that part. So you like smooth speech. You see that there? So that's what you say a wholesome tongue is. I say a wholesome tongue is this. I am alive. I am safe. I am loved. I am protected. I am hedged about. I am conquering. I am mighty. Because those words are life and peace. See how it says, your wholesome tongue is a tree of life? It causes things to grow in you. Your courage will grow when you hear these words of wholesome that I give. Now, your words don't have no cuss words in it, but they don't give no life to nobody. They're not wholesome. They're filthy and nasty. Oh boy, can you hear it? Continuing. But perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. Perverseness where? In the tongue. So what is a perverse tongue? Well, let's see. Esau was called a perverse man. Let's see. Yahusha said a faithless and perverse generation. So faithless and perverse come together. Faithless is what goes like this. I'm sick. I am doomed. I am hopeless. That's perverse talking and it's faithless. See how it can just be clicked off with one little idea when you understand the spiritual mind? Instead of all this rigmarole bull crap that men focus on that don't do a damn thing, it's vain labor to clean the way that they clean. It's righteous to clean the way that I'm telling you to clean, isn't it? Because it causes you to keep God's commandment you didn't even know you had to keep, which was don't take his name in vain. You people of the world and most Christians don't even know what that even means, to take his name in vain. They can't even give you an example of it. Ask them and then see if it lines up with this. I always do this. Take God's name in vain is this: I'm stupid. Now, if they give you an example of taking God's name in vain and they don't say I am, then they don't know God and they don't even know how to take his name in vain or not. But you'll hear people say all day, God damn is how you take his name in vain when you say God damn it. Grandson being silly right now, but y'all get the point? Watch this here. A fool despises his father's instruction, but he that regardeth reproof is prudent. See? Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. That's a prudent man right there. In the house of the righteous is much treasure. Got a lot of wisdom stacked up in there. But in the revenues of the wicked is trouble. Everything they tell you to do, the end of it is trouble. It ain't going to do you no good. It's going to be vexation to your spirit. Because when you become the preacher, that's what you're going to tell everybody. Like I told you. Verse 7, the lips of the wise disperse knowledge. So what come out their lips? The wise man. Knowledge come out of there. The fact that he know what he talking about. It come out his mouth, see? But the heart of the foolish doeth not so. Don't nothing good come out of there. See? The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to I am. See? What does the wicked say when he talks about I am? I am stupid. I am sick. I am lacking. And not only those kinds of thoughts like that, little flock, but also very prideful, vainglory thoughts. I'm the best this. I'm the most that. I'm the number one this. Placing yourself above others and saying none else. That's also the wrong attitude and is sin. You see what I'm saying to you? It's placing the Father above all others. See how you can take the Lord's name in vain and don't know that you are? Mm-hmm. So, but he that loveth him, he that loveth I am, followeth after righteousness. Told you, I am safe. I am secure. I am mighty. I am unstoppable. I am all powerful. I am almighty. I am magnificent to behold. I am awe-inspiring. See how it's the truth of the Father, little flock? If you love him, you'll speak the true words concerning him, and you won't take his name in vain anymore. See how you need to learn the new way of speaking? Do you see how it's different than what you've ever learned before about what words are important that you use and what words are curse words to God? All right, then. Continuing. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. Hell and destruction are before I am. How much more then the hearts of the children of men? See? I don't know what's up in your heart. That's what he judges. The internal. You see? A scorner loveth not one that reproveth. So he hates the one that corrects. He hates the one that speaks upright, as we read in another place. They hate he who speaks upright in the gate. They hate the reprover. You see that? So a scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go unto the wise. He won't even go to the wise to hear him speak. He hates him. You see? A scorner. You see that? A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance. So if your heart is happy, you'd be able to tell on somebody's face. See? But by sorrow of the heart, the spirit is broken. You see? Sorrow of the heart. That's why Yahushua said, rejoice. And again, I said, rejoice and be of good cheer. See it? But the heart of him that hath understanding seeketh knowledge, but the mouth of fools feedeth on foolishness. Carnal things. See, the mouth of fools feeds on foolishness. See what I mean about eating food? How people think it just means about physical food that you eat? It's not what it's talking about here. It says the heart of him that hath understanding feeds on knowledge. He's seeking knowledge to eat. You see it? That's what feeds his heart. But the mouth of a fool, He feeds on foolish things wherein there is no profit, vain nonsense. Listening to people all day put information in your head that will only give you grief, strife, bullshit, and temporary satisfaction in the end. Anything that feels good will give you temporary satisfaction. But most of the things that you receive that are bitter give you long-lasting satisfaction. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? All right, dear little flockulators. All right, dear. Watch this here. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but he that is of a merry heart hath a continual feast. See how he says rejoice and be happy in your heart? If your heart is broken and you're sad all the time and cannot rejoice, then guess what? Your days will be evil. But if your heart is merry, then you have a continual feast, plenty of food to eat. By what? Praise and thanksgiving and being joyful. See? All right then, little flock. Right there. Better is little with the fear of I am than great treasure and trouble therewith. Having a whole lot of money, but you got a troublesome life, and I am is in fear 24/7, rather than I am safe and secure, and you only got a little bit of money and a little bit of food to eat. It's better for you because you know how to praise I am. That other man don't. You see? Better is a dinner of herbs where love is, so bitter plate of food, where love is, than a stalled ox, juicy, tasty meat, and hatred therewith. You hear that there, little flockulators? A wrathful man stirs up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeases strife. We just talked about that earlier, little flock. The way of the slothful man is as an hedge of thorns, but the way of the righteous is made plain, which means flat. So what does that mean, little flock? When a lazy man desires to do something, watch how the spiritual mind illuminates a simple statement. When the spiritual mind desires to fulfill something, it goes to the end of a thing. So when it goes to the end of the thing, that's like traveling to some place on a flat, even plane without any hindrances, when you just can get to the end of it and assume it's already done. That means the journey there must have been smooth and easy for you. But a lazy, slothful man, when he looks to see a goal being done, he starts to think of all of the physical 3D reasons as to why it cannot be. Oh, well, if I had some more money, I could afford to do that. Then I'd be able to do it. Oh, well, if I was able to go and get that thing and have that paperwork done and get those licenses and that registration, then I'd be able to have that thing. Well, if I was able to do that, it's always if and 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 if ain't gonna help you. If is just an excuse to be lazy. That's all it is. You see it there, little flockulators? A wise son make a glad father, but a foolish man despises his mother. Your mother is wisdom, little flock, and your father is love. You see? So a wise son makes love happy because you become a loving person. You just said be slow to anger and make peace. That's a loving person that does that. So if you're a loving person, then you're going to make the father happy. Like I keep telling you guys, that's what pleases him. And your mother, which is wisdom, if you're a foolish man, then will you be pleasing your mother, which is wisdom? Hell no, you won't. See how easy it is to understand? Folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom. So being out there doing dumb shit, going yeehaw, doing the most dangerous, stupidest thrill he could possibly do, that's a joy to him, even though he's destitute of wisdom, obviously. But a man of understanding walketh uprightly. See that there? Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. You see that there, little flock? A man hath joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season. How good is it! Exclamation point. A word spoken in due season. You see that, little flock? The way of life is above to the wise, that he may depart from hell beneath. So I want you guys to hear that there real quick and think about what Yahusha said. You are from beneath, I am from above. So if Yahusha said I am from above, which is where the grandson of right thought is from, then where are we from? We're from above, which is the way of life, the spiritual mind, life and peace. See it? But they are from beneath, Yahusha said. So where they from? They from hell. So then what kind of mind are they from? The carnal mind, which is where hell is at, guys. When you're in the carnal mind, you're in hell. You're in slavery. You're in bondage. You're scared as shit. Because you're basing your life on your own capability. Wrong way to live. That's faithless and perverse. Well, if I could do that, then I could have that. If I do that and take care of that and get this credentials and go to school for 6 months and get that damn certification, then I can go over here and do this and do this and do this and do this. And I'm over here going, I've already done it. It's done. I'm thinking Abba is done already. I'm giving him a sacrifice of praise and thanksgiving for it already being done. See the two different minds at work? But I worked hard. How the hell did he get it? I worked my ass off and got all the certifications and all the paperwork and all of this and all of that. And I still gotta submit to this nigga. He's my boss. How? Because he sought it by faith and you sought it, as it were, by the work of your hands. You read your Bible. Two different minds at play here. See? One is about resting. One is about working. In order to work inside, I have to rest outside. So I do. I told you guys, I go into my secret place and I do like this. So while I'm working inside when I'm doing this, that's what the faithless won't do. That's what the perverse won't do. They won't do this. I mean, I'm sitting in the CEO's desk with my feet clicked up on the desk there, and my name is on a plate right there facing the people who are walking in, looking at me sitting in my chair here. Wow, I've done it. It's done, and I thank you, Father, that it is so. This feels so wonderful and amazing. That's somebody who's working, seeking something by faith. And the other man who's looking at him doing that is like, bullshit. He hasn't done anything. He doesn't deserve that seat. He hasn't done enough work. See what I'm saying about the two worlds? The two brothers that hate each other, the two grandsons? Yeah, buddy. You better figure out which grandson team you on, this grandson or the other one. Better decide. Where we at, y'all? Verse 25. I am will destroy the house of the proud. We just talked about that. But he will establish the border of the widow. The thoughts of the wicked, listen at this. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to I am. See, I'm sick. I'm stupid. I'm evil. I'm getting away with it. I'm sinister. Yeah, I'm evil. Yeah. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? They're an abomination. You see that there? But the words of the pure are pleasant words. See it? Because they're pure. They come from a pure heart. So they're pleasant. You know how to judge that way? Hope you do. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house. But he that hateth gifts shall live. You see that there, little flockulators? People always want to try to give you a gift and a bribe so that you can judge wrong. Didn't we read about that the other day? So then here it is right here being shown to you again. If you love getting bribes and gifts given to you to pervert judgment, then you will pervert it. And you'll keep getting them stupid ass gifts. But if you hate bribes and gifts, then when a nigga try to give you one to bribe you, you'll be like, hell no, this ain't gonna go. You see that there, little flock? The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. I am as far from the wicked, see? But he heareth the prayer of the righteous. I am safe, I am secure, I am healthy. Abba hears that because it's in alignment with the truth of who he is. The light of the eyes rejoiceth the heart, and a good report maketh the bones fat. The ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. If you hear the correction of the life, which is the spirit, if you're able to hear the spirit speak to you and correct you out of your carnal mind way of thinking, then you will be blessed to be among the wise, and you'll be one of those men who are wandered at. He that refuse instruction despise his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. The fear of I am is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. See that, little flock? So the man that you see here today that's able to give you guys all of this wisdom and knowledge and understanding and the spirit of counsel and the spirit of might and all of those things came from initially being humble. I'm about to say being humility. I am humility. You hear me today, little flock? But being humble, seeking the Father, seeking after righteousness, hating evil, hating the carnal mind and the fruits thereof, rejecting them, seeking for the things that are profitable, which is what? The Spirit profited withal. And if you ask, you shall receive. And I have received, and now I'm able to give. See that, little flock? So get this wisdom and understanding while you're able to, because like I said, soon things are going to change. And the 3D is going to attack you because this message is going out. I need you guys to understand this before I end this. The reason why you're all going to be attacked psychologically is because of this message. The grandson is being born. What he's saying is being born into the earth. That will change the hearts and minds of men and make them spiritual, and it will cause them to sprout into their spiritual truths. That takes all your slaves away if you're the carnal mind. So you want to keep them in it. So what do? You attack their minds by making storms, making big waves rise in their lives, big storms and tumultuous circumstances for them to see that cause them to become afraid and to turn away from I am safe. I am secure. I am peaceful. I am in a peaceful land. I am in a peaceful state. So this is just a passing through to get me to my promised land that I've already claimed for myself. So I shall pass through dry shod. Doesn't matter what come. No matter how high that wave rise, it shall not come nigh unto my dwelling. You see it, little flock? And your dwelling is your body. So if you know these truths that I'm telling you and you embrace them and receive them, then when the hour of temptation come, won't you be able to stand in it? Think about the saving that Abba's doing. Can you guys see the subtlety of it? What he's done? This is the saving grace that he's giving you. The knowledge of his name and how to no longer take it in vain. He's forgiven you for taking it in vain, and he's offering you the opportunity to take it in truth, which will save you if you do. Because when the storm wave rises up, only the man of wisdom will stand there and save those people that are in his midst. Just like the Bible said. And even if men forget that wise men, he still saved all of them. So did Joseph. So did David. And so did anybody that had the Spirit of God come upon them. You become a savior. So you cannot help but save. And this time, this is how the saving is taking place. It doesn't matter what men have told you. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them deceive you. Not by power, nor by might, but by my spirit, which is what the grandson's been telling you all about today. Coming into the spiritual mind, because that's how he's going to save. This is how the exodus is being done. Coming out of the carnal mind, entering into the spiritual mind. And once you do that, now you are fit to inherit the land that is meant for you, aren't you? Salaam, Mr. Allah.